Hi guys. So, I wanted to do a book review today about the book We Animals by Jo-Anne McArthur. Now, this is a very, very good book. Loved reading it. The question, why is it a good book? Well, why am I so bad at talking on command? Well, because it's very poetic. Because, online, I've looked at We Animals before, and you just see the pictures. And you just click through, and they're like that big, and you can enlarge them and stuff. It is a totally different experience seeing them very well printed. And yeah, so the photographs are like really beautiful. And then what's better though is Jo-Anne writes like a full page basically about every single photo. And she's very, very good writer. Like, it's very philosophical, very poetic, everything she says, and also very deep. And if you've been thinking about like animal rights stuff for a while, like I have this past year, just because I started seeing it, I'm like, oh, wait a second, I never saw this before. Then her insights are really gonna just kind of make it all make sense, like make your thinking make sense, because she's thought about this so much. And her photographs also just make you learn so much. And actually, I came across her photography like a while ago before I became vegan, and I remember I saw this one, and it was in a factory farm, and I believe it was a sheep, and it was like a sheep mother and a sheep daughter or son, and there was a tiny little light, and there was like a fence, and it was in the dark, and they were like huddled together, and it just made me think of like the Holocaust. I don't remember why, but just seeing that little family inside such a horrible almost concentration camp thing. They just were huddled together, like they were comforting each other and going through this ordeal together with a tiny little lamp, almost like it was taken in the 40s or something. I don't know, but it was. I was stopped, and I just started thinking oh my gosh, yeah, they have families, and I wonder what it's like for them. So every single photo in this is so deep. You can look at it and you're just whoa, all these layers of meaning. So for example, I am going to show you one page. Okay, in this one, you can't really see it that well, but it's a rodeo. And you can see that the horse is looking at the cow. And the calf is totally petrified. No one in the stands would ever have seen that. But somehow she got focused in on the eye. And then there's this guy, and he's looking at, and she says this is not my insight, but you can totally see it in the picture. The cowboy's looking at the crowds yeah, go me. But then the horse and the calf are looking at each other, and the horse almost looks sad. I feel really sad that I'm involved in this, but I have no choice. The horse is just staring at the poor calf, and the calf is just so yeah, there's a lot of really interesting things like that. And this one also really got me thinking. Another one at the rodeo, and she was saying in her description on the other page that this is what it must be like for animals all the time. Always kind of being boxed in by these man-made barriers everywhere, like a maze, like wherever they go, it's like a cage. Sort of like the definition of slavery, like they are not free. But it's just interesting because, like, when you think about it, like, animals always, like, in cages. It's like they're trapped. Like, they go here and it's just trapped, trapped, trapped. It's so sad. And, like, a point she made in the book, which I thought was really interesting, is, like, basically humans are so into, like, we have this need to dominate and control animals so that, I don't know, just, like, to make ourselves feel good about ourselves, like, you know, look at me, like, look how great I am, and like we dominate animals to make ourselves feel good. And I posted it on my Facebook page, and I'm not really saying it well right now, but like, because we do that, like, we have just lost our chance at being part of nature the way nature is meant to be, which is like, as she says, an ecosystem, or just like, yeah, like, I don't know, that didn't really make sense, but okay, I'll have to think about that one. But anyway, on to another photo that I just wanted to say one thing. This was actually my favorite photo in the whole thing. It's very sad. Well, see, none of the photos are like depressing. They're actually gonna just make you feel like really interested because, well, it did kind of depress me as a whole after I read the book because I just saw the things we have done to animals so clearly all of a sudden. I was just like, oh my god. You know, because the more you understand, the more you know. Like, I still kind of thought, well, maybe zoos aren't that bad and stuff, or maybe circuses aren't that bad, but then, like, in her photos, you see, like, how rude it is to rude. I don't know why I said rude, but like it's so sad to it's so wrong to take away another person's freedom, obviously. So you just like see these things in her photos. Anyway, this is the one I really like. Again, you're probably not gonna be able to see it well, but basically it is a holding tank, basically, like at a pig slaughterhouse. Like, if you know it closes before they can slaughter all the pigs, they put the pigs in the room until the slaughterhouse opens the next day, and they sleep there overnight. And I think like why I like it is because it just brings home the truth about animal rights so clearly, because in the photos you see like it's just so like Holocaust. Like, some of the pigs are all curled up together, and some are just like sleeping by themselves, just probably, you know, totally hopeless. But it's just really like you can imagine what is going through their mind, and they're just like last night on earth. And it's just so sad. But it also just makes you understand, like, wow, how could we have done this? How can we have done this to animals? Like, I don't know, it's just very evil. Definitely the dark side of life. We've done it to people, but nobody knows we're doing it to animals. It's all hidden. It's just really creepy, you know? So yeah, all the photos in this book are just like, will teach you so much, because I don't know how she does it, but you just look at them and you see like the truth, and it will teach you more than a book could. Because it's like bearing witness, like you see the expressions on their faces. And yeah. So, like, people could try to convince you all they want, but until you see it for yourself, your mind is not going to be changed. So, because the camera doesn't lie, whereas people can lie. Anyway, the book is amazing, and I really recommend it. And I actually waited a long time to buy it. Well, it came out like in Christmas, and I waited till now just because I was worried. I think that, like, I don't want to see all the photos that are on We Animals, like, constantly, because they're so sad. But in this book, it's like the perfect pics of the photos where they're so meaningful that it isn't depressing. And the text also just like makes so many amazing points that's like fascinating. And oh yeah, also at the end there's like her diary, this section that's like some pages from her diary, and it's really awesome because she's on this undercover like mink investigation at a mink fur farm, and just like her raw thoughts and her like struggling to deal with, like, it just tells you a lot about her life as a photographer, like what it's like to be doing all this undercover work and seeing this horrible stuff, but at the same time like working to make a difference, and just like the friends with all the other being friends with all the other animal rights people, and like walking through these beautiful forests to these horrible places. And yeah, like I saw The Ghost in the Machine, which focuses on Jo-Anne McArthur, but I really think that We Animals is like, to me personally, I loved it way more than Ghost in the Machine. So I really do agree. Everyone should buy the book. You should get the book just because it will be so comforting to you to read. If you're, thinking like thoughts about animal rights that other people aren't thinking. So I highly recommend it. 5 stars, and let me know if you read it, your thoughts, or yeah. So